got too much time left, so let's sneak in a little bit of tea for two.
This is gonna be spicy. So, there was one time I was in a relationship.
Uh-oh.
And I didn't want to hack, I didn't want to try and breach their systems, but they made me very suspicious. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and get in for fun. Which is why I'm trying to make cybersecurity a little bit more mainstream than what it is. Not a lot of people know about it, and they don't really take security seriously until it's too late. They're hacking everyone's packages to come to them.
Welcome to the Tech Post Podcast. I'm your host, Trent Lapinski. In this episode, I interview Tailor Tolliver. She's a cybersecurity expert, and in this interview, we talk about how she got into cybersecurity and her entrepreneurial journey into starting her own cybersecurity consulting firm. This is an amazing episode, so please stay tuned. Welcome to the podcast. I'm here with Tailor. Tell us a bit about who you are and what you're working on.
So yes, my name is Tailor Tolliver. You probably know me online as the Digital Empress everywhere. That's my online brand, and basically a cybersecurity girl. I show people what I'm learning in the field. I help people get into the field, and I inspire people to keep pursuing their goals and dreams, on the journey of entrepreneurship or getting into a specific job. I also am a cybersecurity engineer, but today I just recently put in my 2 weeks notice to fully go full mode entrepreneur. But yeah, I had a really long run as a woman in tech, Black woman in tech. I started my school career in cybersecurity, spring 2015. And I started my cyber courses in fall 2015. And that ran all the way up until fall 2017 when I graduated with my associates in cybersecurity. And throughout school, I started working. I got my first I got my first tech internship with the government, and I was basically working on their SharePoint permission strategy, basically letting people know what they could access and what they couldn't access. And then after that, I got my first full-time position as a help desk associate. Worked there, gained a lot of experience, got another job similar to that. And then after that job, I became a network analysis, and I was basically working on the back end of things instead of the front end. And, troubleshooting network issues and, making sure our network was up. And then that's how from that job, I transitioned into cybersecurity. So yeah, and I did all of this without any certs. A lot of people like to ask me oh, what certs do you have? Or did you have your security plus? I'm like, no, I work hard and I research and I study.
Yeah. Well, I definitely appreciate your hustle because I know just from my, tinkering days and getting into the cybersecurity stuff, it's complicated. It's hard. This is not an easy profession to get into. But you kind of stepped up and took the challenge, and you're now downloading Kali Linux and doing pen testing and all that fun stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your experiences with the tools of the trade?
So in school, they introduced me to Kali Linux for the first time. I never knew that tool existed until I got into school. And the cybersecurity club at my school encouraged getting it downloaded, getting familiar with it, playing with it, trying to use it in capture the flag exercises that they would give us. They wanted us to get very familiar, very comfortable using it because they were like, you know, if you guys want to be pen testers, you want to be security professionals, you have to be comfortable with this. Mm-hmm. So I've been using it since, I would say, fall 2015 when I started my cyber courses. And then I enrolled into the cybersecurity club, and we were constantly doing like hacking challenges. We were constantly going to like outside, like we would form a team within the club, and then like we would pick certain events that we wanted to go to and participate in the capture the flag events, which is basically like you're going into a competition and you're hacking and trying to get into the challenges and stuff. So yeah, I've been messing with it and learning it and, you know, getting my hands dirty for some time now. Some of my favorite things to do with Kali Linux I just recently found that I like to do vulnerability scans. I've cracked passwords, weak passwords with Kali. What else have I done? I've done steganography with Kali. Yeah, I would say that's about it that I've used with Kali.
Well, it's I mean, it's quite the tool chest. I'm going to date myself here because you know, I remember when you had to put all those tools together. We talked a little bit about this before we were recording. Back in the day, there was no Kali Linux, and it's like you had to go download all these repos and hack together your own Linux install. So it's awesome now that you can just go and, you know, download one Linux distribution that already has everything pre-installed for you. Because just getting even installed back in the day was a nightmare. And even today, it's still not easy. Like you still have to, you know, get used to the terminal on the console. Right. And like there's a little bit of config involved still. I mean, I think it's awesome that you were able to go from, you know, choosing this as a career path, you know, getting jobs. I mean, starting out at the help desk level and having to deal with support. I mean, that is like probably the worst and the best place to learn because like you get exposed to, you know, so many different problems and you're constantly solving problems for people, but then you're also dealing with the humanity and that presents its own set of challenges. But you've worked your way all the way up from that. And now, you know, you're starting your own entrepreneurial journey and kind of going out on your own. So what's kind of next for you? What led you to this decision and this path?
I've had the idea of being an entrepreneur, I would say for a long time. I would say maybe my second year in school, but I didn't know what to do. But when I started getting online and networking with people online and seeing other people doing this entrepreneur thing online, I was like, maybe I could do this somehow, but I just didn't know where to start. And then 2017, I just decided, I was like, I think I want to do this. I think I want to start being an entrepreneur, finding out ways how to, you know, make money online with the skills that I have. And I think what was that? I was unemployed for a bit of 2018. So I got a chance to like really dive into being an entrepreneur. I took a course, I invested in a course on Udemy, and it taught me how to like run a freelance web development business. And I did that, and I think I got through it mostly. And then I don't know how I went from that to like creating like a Slack channel with a bunch of like other Blacks in tech. And that was created just for fun. Like it was originally just created for fun, but then I started realizing like I can generate money in here and I can help people get jobs and opportunities and clients and stuff like that. So it kind of transitioned from it being like a fun space for us to just come and talk about, you know, us being Blacks in tech. And now it's come to like us still doing that, but also like helping each other get clients and generate money and, you know, help each other grow on social media, promoting each other and just helping each other grow and get everyone else's business started, I guess. And that's still in the works. I'm still getting that together and getting people to come in and collaborate and contribute. There's a lot of people that have reached out to me to work for me and help me with the channel and stuff like that. But I want to get to the point where I'm doing like pen testing full time and running my own pen test team. And I do have a few pen testers in that Slack channel. And we've talked about, you know, running our own, you know, little team and getting projects and working on them together. So I ultimately, when it's all said and done, my overall end goal is to be a pen tester full time, working for myself and having like a little team that I run within my Slack channel. And we, you know, just work on bugs and stuff like that. And then I also want to get to the point where I'm showing people or telling people my tips and about my journey to getting here on my YouTube channel. Because a lot of people are always asking me like, oh, you know, how do you do this? How do you do that? So I want to give them exposure to see me, especially Black women like me that think like we can't do it, or, you know, they can see someone who's actually doing it and they can hear about me just getting where they want to be. And I'm making their process easier by going through it and then telling them what's going on so they can have an easier path and more clear understanding of how to get where I am.
So educating people and creating value for them.
Yeah, basically that's what I like to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to do that with, you know, there's these, what is it called? The learning management systems that are out there. You mentioned yourself, you did Udemy courses. There's platforms like that. And there's so many different avenues to be able to do that now. That just, I mean, didn't even exist a few years ago. It's crazy how much like educational materials are out there and how the education landscape is changing. And it's really people teaching each other just as much as it is like, hey, go to this school or go to that school. It's now like, all right, let's help each other and build a community and figure out how to do this together.
Right.
Can you talk about like some of your experiences, you know, working with the Black community and helping them kind of get these jobs and these projects? Do you have any insight there?
Yeah. I think before like all of the digital, you know, and online information, it was a bit hard for us to kind of get into this space. And we're still dealing with a lot of things, especially in the corporate world, dealing with our own personal experiences and trying to overcome them and tell other people who want to get into the space, like, you know, you may go through this, but it's not going to last for long and you're going to get to a better situation eventually. But I think a lot of us, especially online, who've kind of come together and, you know, we've started to realize like a lot of us have similar experiences in the tech realm. And we're not alone. Like, I think a lot of us have come together and just, we've seen that it's almost like kind of therapeutic to talk to each other, have that community. Because sometimes like when we're in the corporate world, we may be the only person of color in that space. And sometimes it could get a little bit, it can feel lonely, you know, we feel like it's just us and we don't really have anyone to talk to. So a lot of us are finding each other outside of it, and we're just talking amongst each other and motivating each other, building each other up, inspiring each other, and just making sure that at the end of the day, even through all the hardship or, you know, us, you know, being stressed out, that we're making our mark in the field and we're creating history because it was a lot harder for us back in the day that I researched, to get into this field, but we're coming now in droves to, make a difference in technology.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, I love the fact that tech is so accessible now so that this can happen. Because as a society, we need this. It's kind of an equalizer because the tech industry, I mean, it's so segregated. I don't have another word for it. And it's kind of sad because you're lacking that diversity of opinion. You're lacking that diversity of thought, and you don't get to understand how the rest of the world kind of looks at things and solves problems. And there's just a lack of consideration that goes into a lot of the products and services that we're using. And there's cultural differences and all kinds of things that, they're missing out on. And it's so, I am so happy to see that there's communities that are building like the ones that you're working on and that you're involved in that are kind of trying to help bridge this gap and solve some of these problems. Because ultimately for me, like technology was always about trying to empower people rather than tear them down. And we finally have the tools to do that now. And it's really refreshing to hear that, people like you are building these communities and making that happen.
Yeah, I've had a very good run so far since starting it. So,
well, I hope it continues to be successful. So I'd love to ask you a little bit about like what's happening in the tech industry, like overall, like, we're at this really weird place right now. They're talking about breaking up Google and, there's antitrust and you've got major companies being hacked and data breaches and like all this crazy stuff that's just, politics, censorship, like all the tech companies infighting. Does that have an impact on you at all? Do you have any thoughts or opinion about what's going on in the tech space?
No, I usually, like, if I see things in the news, like politics and stuff like that, I usually don't try and let it affect me. I may look at it, I may scan through it, see what's going on. But I think because I'm so focused on like me getting to a certain spot, me working, like I'm like in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, one day I'm going to be fixing this. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's going on now, but I'm probably going to be fixing this in the future. So that's how I like to think of it. Like, I'll see the stuff, I'll see these breaches, I'll see these companies getting hacked. And I'm like, maybe, just maybe they're missing me. Maybe there's something in my brain that they just need. And I'm learning right now. That's why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. I'm learning, I'm practicing because they're missing something. There's something that's missing. That's why the same hacks keep happening, the same breaches, the same, issues. And we just haven't found a fix for them. So I don't really let the news like faze me. I'm just like, we just need to find a fix.
Yeah. Spoken like a true cybersecurity expert. Let's solve the problem and then move on to the next one.
Exactly.
Because it's kind of this endless game. Like you're never like, you never actually, I don't know, like you'll solve a problem and it's like, okay, now what's the next bug? What's the next security vulnerability? What's the next challenge? And it's just like, you're always trying to push it further and try to figure out like what's next. And what's another way someone's going to try to do this or break into this app or, what does that look like? And it's crazy because I don't think a lot of these tech companies take cybersecurity seriously. I mean, obviously because they're getting hacked all the time, like that's the evidence that they aren't. But they definitely need people like yourself that have studied it, who do understand this stuff and that can advise them on best practices and how to avoid some of these things. And sometimes it's just knowing, what not to do. Sometimes it's as simple as that. And it's just, kind of like operational security. Because that's the big challenge with a lot of these software companies and a lot of these developers is they build these apps and then they don't have anybody to look at them critically.
Right. And that's something that I want to do which is why I'm building my platform, which is why I'm trying to make cybersecurity a little bit more mainstream than what it is. not a lot of people know about it, and they don't really take security seriously until it's too late. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the reason why I'm kind of utilizing my platform and my voice. So when people see me, they automatically think security. Like, I need to be on top of my game when it comes to security. But yeah, I just think people, like you said, it's not really a importance around it. There's still a lot of people that don't really understand it. And that's why I'm trying to bring it to the forefront and be like, hey guys, like, look, we need to get on top of this so we can try and, mitigate more risk to these companies so they don't keep having the same hacks.
Yeah. And have you looked at any like new technology or anything that's kind of on the forefront that you're excited about?
Yes. I have a friend named Ari. She got me gave me the idea of getting like a drone license. And she says that when you want to fly drones, you need licenses to fly these drones. And I didn't know that. I thought we could just go outside and fly drones. I didn't know you had to get certifications for that. But I would like to see where drones go in the near future and how we would need to implement security for those, because I know everything needs security.
Have you seen the drone capturing drone? I saw footage of this where there's like a drone where it's designed to capture other drones. It kind of shoots a net out and captures them.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, because what are you supposed to do if someone's flying a drone illegally?
Right. Oh, so they're like drone polices.
Yeah, basically. The drone cops, I guess. I don't know.
Drone cops.
But there's some serious security concerns and privacy concerns with drones. That this is why they're talking about having to have licenses and trying to figure out that technology, because I could just imagine any number of challenges and problems that could arise from flying drones illegally.
Yeah, and you see, I have a bunch of windows. Someone could be flying a drone and looking at everything in my place. So
yeah, I could imagine in Hollywood and the paparazzi and that kind of scenario as well. And you could fly a drone outside a skyscraper with a tech company and zoom in on someone as they're entering their password, or there's going to be a lot of interesting challenges when it comes to the commercialization of drones.
Right.
They're talking about using them for deliveries too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Amazon's been looking at using drones for deliveries.
Okay.
Yeah.
See how that works out.
Especially if someone starts hacking all the drones.
Right. Right. They're hacking everyone's packages to come to them.
Yeah, exactly. The big one that worries me is cars. Is I don't think people realize everyone's oh, I want a self-driving car, and I'm thinking you realize all these tech companies keep getting hacked, right? You really want to get in a car that can be hacked? Because that's not going to go well.
We will all be hurt.
Yeah.
You get hacked in the car.
That's one of my big concerns with automation is, once we have self-driving cars, because I forget the statistics off the top of my head, but a significant portion of the economy in the United States is people driving cars, whether it's truck drivers, whether it's Lyft and Uber, there's a significant, or deliveries as well. That is a significant job in this country.
Right.
And once all of that's automated and, drones are delivering your packages and, your Uber's driving itself and doesn't need a driver anymore, that's going to put a lot of people out of work. But then at the same time, if that stuff's getting hacked, I guess that creates more job opportunities in the cybersecurity space. So,
right. Actually, that does create more opportunities.
but it's going to be really, I don't know. I'm optimistic and fearful for the future because I'm afraid that people aren't going to take cybersecurity seriously, and we're going to have, cars getting hacked, and we're going to have drones doing things they shouldn't,
Right.
and we're going to have scenarios where we're going to have to learn the hard way that maybe we should have thought about cybersecurity before we did this,
Right.
because it's I don't know. Like I said, there's so many. I mean, I feel like every week there's another data breach that I'm reading about. And I kind of like gave up. I mean, even my mom had she was a part of the Facebook hack. And like now her phone blows up all day with like all these crazy like phone calls because her information got sold. Like it's somewhere out on the dark web, and she's getting like calls in other languages and stuff. And it's like, wait, like, why would you buy that? And then like, you're obviously, if you're buying that Facebook data that leaked, like, like she's in the United States, why are you calling her in Chinese or like, I don't know, like she's not going to understand. Like, so I just, it's crazy that we're already to the point where that happens, where these major tech companies are already getting hacked, our data is being sold. And it's all because they didn't take cybersecurity seriously.
No.
Stole, and like kept passwords in plain text, just like sitting there on a server.
Yeah.
Where the password is password.
Why, with all the people that is using your platform, your social media, why would you not think, hey, like, but some people, I guess I'm thinking like that because I'm in security, like I'm going to put security first, but people just don't think about it till the last minute.
So what's some time in your life that you've actually had to hack into something?
Ooh. This is going to be spicy. So, there was one time I was in a relationship.
Uh-oh.
And I didn't want to hack. Like, I didn't want to try and breach their systems, but they made me very suspicious. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and get in for fun. So, basically, I talked to my friend, and she gave me like a tip on how to like get into their iCloud. And I'm not going to share that because I don't want to,
Yeah, you don't have to share the tip.
Yeah. So I tried the tip and it actually worked. But I really didn't have to do that because I don't know how I did it, but I guessed his passcode. And I got it right. And I got in his phone. And I found some things in there that I didn't want to see. And yeah, that is the time that I have had to like seriously like hack into something, not just for fun, but to actually get in there and see what was going on. So I think girls are very good at doing that.
Do you have any regrets in doing this, or did you see what you needed to see to?
I saw what I needed to see. I wasn't like, I had already suspected it.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, okay, but I'm in a new relationship now, so we're good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I just want to tell people, if they have any cybersecurity questions or they want to reach out to me and they're trying to get into the career field, I'm here. I do YouTube. You can find me everywhere online by Digital Empress. And since I put in my 2 weeks today and I'm going full entrepreneur, I can like talk to you guys all day. And now I have time to, do consultations all day and answer your questions without getting stressed out. So, yeah.
And that's at Digital Empress on Twitter. And is that also your YouTube?
Yes, Digital Empress on YouTube, Digital Empress on Twitter, Instagram, and my GitHub is actually the Digital Empress. So you guys can go and see like my code and security test on GitHub.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching another uncensored episode of TechPost.io. I'm your host, Trent Lapinski, and don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and hit that little notification bell next to the subscribe button so that you can get notified when we release new episodes. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, and other social networks, including Twitter and Facebook, at TechPost.io, and you can find me personally at Trent Lapinski. Once again, I'm Trent Lapinski, and this has been another great episode of TechPost.io. We'll see you soon.